What's up, everybody? It's your boy KidSmoove, Apples and Oranges, another Tupac edition. In this video, I'm going to give you the main reasons why Tupac really disliked Dr. Dre. First of all, this goes back to 1993, 92, 93. Tupac had just finished recording the album Thug Style, and that album was due to release maybe late 93, early 94. He already had released Strictly for My Niggas in February of 93, and he recorded a whole nother album in 93 to also release in the winter of 93 or early 94. Now, what happened was Tupac and Death Row were technically all under the same label, that the powerhouse of Interscope. And I think it was Jimmy Iovine who actually gave Dr. Dre the submission for Tupac's Thug Style CD. And what happened was Dre took that and he and Snoop took some of the, I guess, the content that Tupac had on that album, and they used it for Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style. So when you guys hear Snoop Dogg be like, biatch, and all this other shit, if you listen to Thug Style, or later known now as Are You Still Down, it was re-released in 1997 as Are You Still Down, and parts of it was released as Loyal to the Game that we got in 2004. That's when Tupac was doing that lingo and shit. They kicked a lot of the style, stole a lot of the bars and some of the album, and that kind of had Tupac furious. So furious that he scrapped the fucking album and said, fuck it, he ain't doing the album. And he later on put out works like Thug Life, and then he had to replace Thug Style with the album Me Against the World. Now, we all know that Suge Knight bailed Tupac out of jail in 95 and signing Tupac to Death Row, a move that Dr. Dre wasn't very happy with. And with that, and people has come and confirmed that Dre wasn't happy with this move. He wasn't happy at Death Row, and he felt like Suge was taking over as far as trying to find the talent, and that was Dr. Dre's job. Now, everybody was working on the Tupac album with, as far as producers. You know, you had DJ Quick doing work. You had Johnny J, who did a lot of work. You had Daz, who did Dad from the Dog Pound, who did a lot of work for the album. And of course, obviously, Dr. Dre was supposed to be listed as a producer on the album because he's the main producer at Death Row. He gave Tupac California Love, which wasn't originally slated for Tupac. It was supposed to be like a single for Dr. Dre for his Aftermath, to launch his Aftermath label album, whatever he was going to do that year. So some say they forced him to give it to Pac. I think Suge told him to give it to Pac, and then Dre says he gave it to Pac. He thought it was best that it be Pac's single. Who knows what you want to believe? You can roll with that. Dr. Dre also did production on the song Can't See Me. He made that beat. Obviously, is the thing about Can't See Me, this wasn't like a fresh brand new beat that Dr. Dre just laced up for Tupac. All he did was recycle his old beat, the beat that he made for Snoop Dogg, What's My Name.
Of the sea, back to the block, Snoop Doggy Dogg, monkey, yeah, the doc went solo on that ass.
That song, he just took that beat and changed the tempo a little bit, and like, here, Tupac, I got a new beat for you. It's called, and then Tupac did Can't See Me to it.
Give me my money in stacks and lace my bitches with Don figures. Real niggas fingers on nickel-plated non-triggers. Must see my enemies defeated. I catch them while they coked up and weeded open fire. Now them niggas bleeding.
So it wasn't really anything new, and Tupac really was under the impression that Dr. Dre worked too slow and he was just lazy and he was taking all the credit. And one reason why he felt Dr. Dre, that Death Row, or that they were giving to Dr. Dre too much credit, is because not only getting those two singles, those two songs from Dr. Dre, Can't See Me and California Love, Dr. Dre also gave Tupac the song, the beat, Got My Mind Made Up, and with, you know, Redman, Method Man, and all of them on there. He gave him that. He's like, oh yeah, I got a track with Redman, Method Man and stuff, and he gave him Got My Mind Made Up, and Tupac was like, oh yeah, I want that, you know. But Tupac was under the impression that Dr. Dre laced that up. And come to find out, it was Daz from the Dog Pound. And when Tupac found out that Daz did that, he was upset because Dr. Dre was taking all the credit, and he didn't want to give Dr. Dre credit on that album for taking a beat if Daz made the beat. So that really kind of pissed him off. Another reason why Tupac wasn't very fond of Dr. Dre is because during this murder trial Snoop Dogg was going to, Dr. Dre never really appeared to the hearings or wasn't there to have Snoop Dogg's back or to show up to court and whatnot. And Tupac found that disloyal, and he wasn't really feeling Dr. Dre for that. So he could care less about him. You know what I mean? And the thing about Tupac coming to death row wasn't because of Dr. Dre. Yeah, he was cool with Snoop. Suge Knight wanted to sign Pac to Dr. Dre back in '94 when they were working on the Above the Rim soundtrack, and when Tupac was doing work with Warren G and whatnot, they wanted to sign him. But Tupac wasn't really feeling it because he probably wasn't really feeling Dr. Dre for that whole thug style stealing or robbing. You know what I mean? But people forget Tupac really only worked with Dr. Dre, or even went to Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre was a big name, a big time producer, but he was contractually obligated to work with Dr. Dre and Snoop Doggy Dogg on one of his 3 releases that he had signed on for Death Row. He was signed up to do 3 albums, and on his debut, he was contractually obligated to work with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, and he fulfilled that. So that's why his later works, when it came to solo stuff he was recording, didn't really have a heavy Dr. Dre or Snoop Dogg appearance on it. Yep, but that's it. I mean, those are like really the main reasons why Tupac did not really care for Dr. Dre. Like I said, the fact that Interscope let Dr. Dre, you know, take the Thug Style album, and he felt like they just completely bit him, like copied his style with Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style album. A lot of contents in that album was ripped off the Tupac's Loyal to the Game / Are You Still Down album, which back then was going to be Thug Style. Snoop Dogg's murder case, he didn't like how Dre handled that, him not showing up, everybody from Death Row showing up but him. The lazy production, he only got 2 beats out of Dre. One wasn't originally intended for Pac, and the other one was a recycle of Snoop Dogg's old beat. And then the credit that he was obligated to give Dr. Dre for working on the album, when he felt Dr. Dre didn't do much, and the majority of the production didn't come from Dr. Dre at all. And then he was contractually obligated to work with them, and if it was up to him, he probably wouldn't have had worked with him regardless. But he was only obligated to do it for 1 album, and why not the debut? And obviously, everybody went their separate ways. Pac, rest his soul, he's gone. Dre, successful at Aftermath, but don't let anybody lie to you. These two didn't really like each other.